Hey everybody, I'm Jared.
And I'm Jordan.
And this is episode 6 of the I Think It's Time podcast. And today, I think it's time for us to chat with other twins about what it's like to be a twin.
Yes, sir. If you haven't listened to part 1 of our discussion, you can find that on our YouTube channel or on any of the major podcasting platforms. We appreciate you for listening and hope you enjoy.
All right. Being twins, part 2. This will be fun.
This is a good one. So in the first episode, we had a discussion about what it's like to be twins, identical twins specifically. And a lot of the things that we talked about were negatives. We discussed some positive aspects of being a twin, but more so the negative aspects, you know, and that was filmed many months ago during the summer of 2021. So now we have part 2. It's not going to be so much a discussion between us, but we will be watching other twins talk about their experience of being a twin. And
the interesting part about this is that we spoke with all of the twins that we'll be watching today.
yes.
So we, in August of 2021, we traveled to Twinsburg, Ohio for the famous Twins Days Festival.
Twins Days Festival.
So, you know, I think you came across the 2021 event and you asked if I wanted to go. I said, absolutely. So we both woke up at 5 a.m. to hop in the car to take the 5-6 hour drive to Twinsburg, Ohio for the Twins Days Festival.
And the Twins Days Festival is the largest annual gathering of twins and multiples in the world.
Yes.
So before we went, just trying to imagine what that would be like, I couldn't.
Right in America.
Right
in Ohio.
So
twins from all over the world. It's not just America.
All over the world.
Yeah.
So when we get there,
we pull into the parking lot.
Yeah.
And I see twins just running all over the place. And it literally feels like a dystopian reality, Jordan.
Yeah. No, not only running all over the place, they're dressed the same.
Yes. And
almost all of them were dressed the same.
Yes.
Or had the same theme to what they were wearing.
Yes.
It was the most amazing thing I think I've ever seen for the first time. It was like a culture shock beyond shocks.
Yeah. And we pull into the parking lot and you don't feel like a twin yourself. Do you understand?
Right.
You're just a normal person looking at all these twins running across the parking lot.
Yeah.
Not realizing that when you step out of that car, you and I are wearing the same outfit as well.
Yeah. And that was coordinated.
Yeah.
We almost chose not to wear the same outfit, but I'm glad we did.
So we sat in the car for a little bit, trying to muster the courage to get out and go see what is ahead of us.
Not only that, to feel okay stepping out wearing the same thing, because usually when you do that, you know that eyes are going to be on you and it's going to be like some cute thing to do, I get it, you're twins.
And that's something we've talked about, though. We very rarely, past the age of probably 10, very rarely have we coordinated our outfits.
Yeah. I mean, there's no need to.
So that point, you know, we felt sort of anxious about dressing the same.
Yeah.
And that was, you know, and we realized that was probably the stupidest thought we could have ever had at Twins Day Festival.
Because the minute you get out of the car, there's this feeling of, wow, I've never felt like this in my life. Did you get that same feeling? We talked about it.
Yes, Jordan. Being a twin was now the norm.
It was the norm.
Okay, it was different to not be a twin. And we didn't see many people who weren't twins. I think it was probably only like parents of little kids who were twins
and family members.
Yeah. But people, if you can just imagine a sea of twins.
Well, let's show them they take a photo each year. We didn't get the chance to get in it, but let's put that up real quick.
Yeah, so that's the drone shot, I believe, of
everybody who wanted to get in the picture.
Yeah.
Most of the twins there.
Yeah, and unfortunately, we didn't make it to the picture in time.
We didn't. And it's a 3-day festival, so we only stayed for 1 day. They have different activities throughout.
Talent shows
and stuff. But yeah, it was just an overwhelming feeling of it's normal to just walk around wearing the same things, embrace your twinhood.
And an overwhelming curiosity.
Explain that.
Finally, we have an opportunity here to learn more about what it's like being a twin from other people's perspectives, and in turn, learn more about ourselves.
Absolutely.
To know that, maybe some of our thoughts aren't weird. It's normal twin behavior, normal twin living and thinking.
Right. And we went in with a few questions that we wanted to ask people. So we
basically pretended to be journalists for the day.
Right. We got our media passes. We pretended to be journalists, and we went out and asked. We set up at this one location and asked people really 4 general questions. And we're about to get into that. So you're going to see a little bit of their responses right now.
So we interviewed a total of, I believe, 15 sets of different twins.
Yep.
And we tried to, seek out a diverse group of people, old, young, black, white, man, woman. And the only demographic that we didn't really get a chance to speak to were young kids. But maybe next year.
Yeah.
Or this year.
Or maybe that'll be part 3. We'll have an interview with a set of young twins.
I like that.
So let's get into this first question.
All right. So the first question we asked was, what is the best part about being a twin? And you'll hear first from 2 twins, Romeo and Edward, who are 39 years old, from the Bronx, New York.
The best part about being a twin is always having somebody there regardless of anything else going on in the world. Because sometimes even your best friend will be busy, or your best homies will be with their wife or doing something else with their family. But coming out the womb with that one person, man, they'll never turn their back on you. And you know they always going to be there through everything. You got a travel buddy, a confidant, somebody to always go to war with you, irregardless of anything happening in the world at all. That's the best part for me.
Same answer, man. Best thing about being a twin is you don't need to go outside to get a best friend. Your best friend is born with you, and it's to the end of the time. So we do everything together. We make everything work, and it's never a doubt that I know he's not at some point going to have my back, and I have his. So that's always the best thing, knowing that this bond is unbreakable.
Mm-hmm. I think that point right there is one of the central dilemmas of being a twin. Is that you don't need a best friend, or let alone a friend. We are each other's best friends.
So you say dilemma.
Yeah. The dilemma, because it's difficult, I feel, as a twin, or it has been difficult to build other friendships. When I don't think it's possible. I don't know this. I'm just speaking based upon our 26 years of living on this planet. I don't think it's possible to find another friend in this world who I have a deeper connection with, or who I would want to spend time with, let into my life, other than a significant other, a girlfriend, right?
Yeah.
But I think that's been difficult And it's interesting because we're not alone.
Right. And I think, he at the end he said it's an unbreakable bond.
Yeah.
Those words just fly over. It's so cliche to just say that.
Yes.
But it's so true. It's so true. There's been nothing yet that has been able to break our bond.
Yeah.
And I think many twins would agree with that. It takes a lot to break what not only was inherently given to us, this ability to be twins, we were born as twins, but what has been built just by having somebody with you for 26 years now. So
I think it'd be interesting to try to find some twins who are estranged.
Yeah, that'd be something.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
So next we're going to hear from Sammy and Semi. They're 24 years old and they are from Chicago, Illinois.
There's several things. But I say one thing is mostly is tricking people. Might be a little sentimental question, but I mean this how I feel with her. But knowing that you have somebody that's a part of you, knowing your same move, thought, and everything else, just having that one friend and one bond from that one person without having friends whatsoever, which you can call your brother, your friend, everything all whatnot. But I mean, that's how I feel about it.
Again, the same thoughts that we have, Jordan.
Yep.
Yeah.
Same theme I noticed, and I think you all will start to hear that. A lot of the twins that we interviewed talked about this unbreakable bond. You can call your twin your best friend, your brother, anything.
Yeah. All right. So Karen and Sara are 67 from Akron, Ohio.
One has your back, 105%. Yeah, she's my best friend, and it's just like knowing you always have somebody who understands you, knows you, and I can count on her for anything. So
next we have Mort and Mike. They're from Columbus, Ohio, and they're 72 years old.
Having somebody as good looking as that.
Yeah. That's your same answer?
Same answer, sure. How could I argue with that?
We have Tia and Leah from St. Louis, Missouri, and they're 36 years old.
Everything.
Great answer.
Everybody get us confused.
Oh, that's the best part.
Yeah.
Chiquita and Laqueella from Niles, Ohio, and they're 39 years old.
The best part for me is I'm born with a life partner. She's my roommate from day one, A1. We always say that. No matter what, I don't have to worry about girl squabble or whatever. If we argue, we pick up the pieces the same day. It don't last long. We're not holding grudges. So she always got my back. Well, she know I always have hers. Right. Well, I got to follow that. I was going to say the exact same thing. Let's just say that. But I will say the one thing I really love about having an identical twin sister is just no matter what, it's more of a feeling to me. It's she feels me. Most people don't know what that feels like to feel someone. You know what I mean?
That's a great way of trying to explain it.
Yeah.
Most people don't know what it's like to feel someone.
Yeah.
I think it is an empathetic connection that goes a little deeper than normal relationships.
Is that something you're born with, or is it something that has to be built up just like any other brotherhood or friendship?
I think a little of both. I think as a twin, there is something going on there that's innate. But, being in close proximity, for a quarter century does something as well. Most people can't get as close in other relationships as you can in a twinship. Right.
And I think they're going to speak more about that in an interesting way in a few.
Unconditional love, through it all, she feels words, no words. We beat that same heartbeat, no matter what. I like that.
Loreta and Lorraine from Fayetteville, Pennsylvania, and they're 67 years old.
We went through breast cancer at the same time, so it was really cool because the people at the hospital or whatever, they go, do you need somebody to talk to walk through this with you? And you go, no, I have my sister. We're okay. We're good. Not a problem.
Wow. Lonnie and Zach from Sarasota, Florida, and they're 19 years old.
Art is we do everything together, and we fight too. I like doing that.
I like doing that. It's so interesting because if you'd have seen, one of these people, by themselves, you're like, oh, that person's got a unique personality,
right?
When you see them both together, you're like, oh, that's genetics, right? That's genetics. They have the exact same unique personality,
right?
That's genetics.
Oh man, and I think being a twin, having that perspective, we're able to notice that a little more. Like, I don't think many twins, I could be wrong.
Do you think other people can notice that? I think
they can notice that, but we know what it's like to have a similar everything, similar personality in a way, similar life, similar interests. I think being a non-twin, like not being a twin, it's more of a curiosity and something you just kind of mention of them being similar. But when you say that, it's more of you understand why they're similar, or why they act the same. Like it makes sense.
All right. Deborah and Trina from Lima, Ohio, and they're 73 years old.
You always have a best friend. Somebody to talk to.
You would say the same thing?
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay.
Anything to say about them?
It's so interesting to see each set of twins' personalities.
Yes.
But also, like you said, to see a similar personality.
Mm-hmm.
They seem like they're more soft-spoken, reserved.
Yeah.
In a sweet way, in a good way.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting to see both of them act that way.
Yes. Mandy and Mindy from Silver Creek, New York, and they are 40 years old.
Best friends. Best friends, yeah. We love because we're best friends and we have each other all the time.
If you can think of the most amount of difference amongst twins, if you can just imagine that's Twinsburg, Ohio.
What do you mean the most amount of difference?
You have 1-year-old twins who are in a stroller walking past 87-year-old twins who are carrying canes.
Oh, it was so beautiful.
It was beautiful. And people expressed that this has become like a yearly ritual for them.
Yep.
They have long-lasting friendships with other twins that they met at Twins Days.
But you had other people who this was their first time, just like us. And it was such a welcoming environment. Just being a twin grants you access to this, like, not only the festival, but just this connection with other people, So it's like we get each other. We understand each other to an extent.
Yeah. And I think we'll see later on when, we started realizing that, there appeared to be a twin A and a twin B in every interaction we had.
I had never really heard of that.
Yeah.
Before going to the festival.
Yeah. And we'll see that.
Yeah.
Jasmine and Jessica from Cleveland, Ohio, and they're 20 years old.
Honestly, I don't know. Like, you have a sibling, but I just feel like you got somebody. Like, me and my sister, we are individual people, but we so similar. Like, we think the same. And I know twins that don't even like each other. But me and my sister, that's my best friend. Like, it's just a built-in best friend. It's, like, we so attached to each other, and it's like a bond. Like, you can't really.
Built-in best friend.
Yeah.
I think that's the best term I've heard in all of our interviews. A built-in best friend.
Yeah.
Because I think that's really what it is.
It's like a bond. Like, you can't really explain to nobody else.
Oh, yeah. You say the same thing or anything different?
I would say the same thing. Just the closest we have. We can be mad at each other. 2 minutes later, we're going to be talking like it didn't happen. Yeah, I don't have that relationship with nobody else.
Marlene and Marcia are 77 years old, And Marlene lives in Richmond, Virginia, and her sister Marcia lives in California.
Never feeling alone. Even when you are separated, your mind always goes to what your sister is doing. You kind of know what's going on in California at that time, and you envision that. Well, you don't know what's going on. No, but we assume. There's always somebody who will stand up for you.
Jay and Neal, Boston, Massachusetts.
Jay and Neal.
And they're 31 years old.
These guys were some characters.
I didn't know what to think when we saw these two.
They were some good dudes, man.
Oh, yeah. Very, very intelligent, very charismatic. We'll put it that way.
But in general, just like you always got a companion, just never really feel lonely. I think that's like one thing a lot of people don't, like they always ask, like, don't you guys get sick of each other and stuff? But you fight and stuff, but like, it's just like one of those things it's kind of like that bond. Like a lot of the same stuff. So it's just always having someone to be there and hang out with and stuff. So,
another theme that I noticed, you never feel lonely. That's something that I didn't realize. I didn't explicitly realize before so many people said it. You never feel lonely. It's so true. It's so true.
It would be a fascinating study. I'm sure the studies have already been conducted. Comparing the health, that's both mental and physical health of twins, the broad cross section of twins versus the mental and physical health of, non-twins.
I'm sure it's already been done.
Yeah. And I believe, I can't remember the exact study, but I came across a study a while ago that showed that twins on average had a greater life expectancy or longevity.
And you think a part of that is because of what these guys just said, maybe?
Yeah, definitely. Like the fact that, obviously everybody deals with mental health issues.
Yeah.
But think about like an only child, and you're dealing with the isolation of COVID, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's much different than having a twin and dealing with that same isolation of COVID.
That's true.
Yeah.
And, people have brothers, sisters, siblings.
Yeah.
Some are closer to their siblings than others, but he has a very good point because I don't know any estranged twins.
Yeah.
That'd be fascinating. Heartbreaking, but fascinating.
Yes.
But it's this common theme, built-in best friend. You never get lonely. And obviously the people who go to Twins Days Festival, I would think most of them have a pretty positive relationship to attend a festival like this together. But it's something that I noticed that I overlooked a lot. Just this feeling of ever present. Like there's always someone like me present.
Yeah.
And I know we've been living together for all of our lives, but I think even what Marlene and Marcia were saying, even when they're in separate places, you still sort of feel like you have an idea of what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
You still have somebody that can stick up for you.
Yeah.
It never goes away. You still have somebody that's one call away. Even then, you're not lonely.
Yeah. No, I think we take for granted the everyday presence of one another, right?
Yeah.
I know I am absolutely grateful for that. And that doesn't often get expressed, but
love you, brother.
Love you, brother. All right.
And just personally for him, I like that, like he's like pretty driven and stuff. So just like career wise and stuff, like we just kind of push each other and
awesome.
Yeah.
Same thing for you.
Similar thing, man. Like just like same type of mentality. Just like from a mental point of view and also physical, like we both like to work out and stuff, so it's like a built-in like workout partner and stuff. Can push each other like physically too. Don't want one to get bigger than the other. So you gotta keep pushing each other, right?
Andy and Chad from Nashville, Tennessee, and they are 42 years old.
Best friend, you've got somebody to be with all the time, and they understand you, and like we've lived every experience together. Like, you know, even if you've been married for 50 years, most people, like, you didn't experience childhood together. Like, we've experienced our whole lives together, and it's just like this bond that nobody, I mean, I think it is a special twin bond, but just being together for 42 years, like, you know, I'll never do that with anyone else in the world. It doesn't matter who we meet. He's known me longer. Right. And so he's been there, even if he didn't experience it. You know, if I fall off my bike and break my arm, he might not do that at the same time, hopefully. But I was there. But he was there. I pushed him off the bike. Right, yeah. Pretty much. Except it was the opposite, the other way around.
Again, the personality types are all different. It's so amazing.
So these two guys, I can't remember which one. The first thing they told us when we encountered them was about their Tesla story.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll have to pull that up. But they're pretty well known for this encounter they had with the police, I believe.
Here, let's pull that up. It says twins in twin Teslas trick trooper. That's them?
I believe so. The brothers told Beacon Journal News partner News 5 Cleveland the incident happened Thursday as they were on their way from their homes in Nashville, Tennessee, to attend their 22nd consecutive Twins Days Festival.
20
in Twinsburg.
22nd.
22nd.
When was this article? This was in 2019, so this was their recent. 24th festival this past year?
Yeah.
Oh my.
So the article continues, the trooper got flummoxed by just one difference in the plates. One plate is uppercase SUBJTO with the letter O, while the other is uppercase SUBJTO or T0 with a 0.
Oh my goodness.
One of the brothers, Andy Baker, said the license plates are a reference to their profession. He and his brother work together as real estate investors, and they specialize in subject to real estate deals. I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is either.
A subject to deal is where an investor takes over the existing financing on a piece of property.
Okay.
When the trooper realized the plates weren't the same, he let the brothers go. The trooper got a kick out of it, Baker told News 5 Cleveland. He was a really good sport. This wasn't the first time the brothers have been pulled over on the way to the festival. Last year, so in 2018, they got caught speeding. Both were traveling 58 miles per hour. Speeding tickets provided to News 5 Cleveland show they were pulled over at separate times in a 35 mile per hour zone on East Aurora Road on August 3rd last year.
So there must have been a police officer on that road, but they were traveling at the same speed at different times.
Come on.
What are the chances of that?
Maybe they coordinated.
Maybe they did, yeah.
On their Teslas. They clicked the 58 in the 35.
Man, yeah, so they told us all about that story. And they were...
Well, they didn't tell us. They said, you got your phone?
Oh, they...
Look it up.
All right, let's keep it rolling here.
Michael and Luke, they're 23 years old. And Michael currently lives in Austin, Texas. And his brother Luke lives in Atlanta, Georgia.
And there's nothing like it. I mean, it's so unique. Being able to, say that you have somebody that looks like you, it's a good talking point all the time. And I mean, the bond is obviously there. Like, it's kind of like unspeakable, but like you both know about it. And it's hard to explain to somebody else, but it's just like there's a unity that most brothers and sisters don't have that twins have.
The cliche answers, I think, to the larger population. But when they say this to us, when they said this to us, you understand what they're saying.
Yes.
You get it. You can't really explain it much further than that. Every twin has a different personality. Every set of twins leads different lives.
Yeah.
So there's struggles and a lot of stuff behind closed doors that many people don't see, even between us. But there's always this understanding that the strong bond that we've built, it's going to take a whole lot to tear that down.
Yeah. And one more thing, we have the same exact sense of humor. And that's something, we don't often think about. When you need a laugh, we know how to make each other laugh.
Just send a meme or...
Yeah. We know the exact meme that is going to make you and each other go crazy.
Do you think that's just from being around each other for so long? You understand the other person's sense of humor, or do we really have similar sense of humors to the point where we find the exact same things funny?
Well, look, I mean, if you're scrolling on your phone and you see something and you think it's funny,
yeah,
on a scale from 0 to 100, what's the chance that you think I think it's funny? 100, right?
I'd have to say 100. That's a good point right there, man. So the next question that we asked them was, is there anything that you don't like about being a twin? And we are going to just let these responses play, and we'll have a discussion throughout and talk about it afterwards a little bit.
And if you're interested and you want to watch the video version of this podcast, you can check out our YouTube channel where we list their names above the video.
Well, when we were younger, like if I liked a girl and she like, I mean, it has happened a couple times where I liked the girl, she didn't like me, she liked him, and I was confused. Like, wait a minute, we look alike. How do you like him and don't like me? So the girl would chase him and then leave me to the side, and then when he doesn't like her, now she want to come to me like I'm second, and now it's like I'm in a tough position.
So that's mentally like your own. I guess, did that make you feel insecure in any way or nothing like that?
Nah, it didn't make me feel insecure. I just felt like, it just felt weird that somebody would look deeper than me to initially to say that he's more attractive or whatever to me.
When you get your swag up, then it'll change. You know what I'm saying? Things like that won't happen.
He said things like that won't happen.
Hold on, he said he didn't get insecure about that. That is so interesting.
Yeah.
Because I know for us, that kind of stuff, as we discussed in part 1, makes us a little insecure. That's...
Or maybe it's something they worked out already between them.
Yeah. But that point, they're spot on with that.
Yeah.
It won't be for eternity. Like, it will end somehow, but still, like, it won't be for a lifetime. For hope God next lifetime, but still, like, for eternity. That's my main thing. I like that. Another thing that I don't like is when some people that's not twins, they say, because we used to like dress alike a lot of times. They say we too grown for twins and all that. If some people that's not a twins that says that, they don't understand like how twins are. That's one thing that I don't like when people does.
I think that because she's 4 minutes older, she thinks she's the older twin and that she's always right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I think what bugs me is that with your hand on your shoulder. Yeah.
On your shoulder. His shoulder. She meant hip.
You tend to be bossy and have an attitude.
She's the younger twin, though.
Yeah,
she has to. She's got to make up for it.
Wow, the truth comes out. She wants to fight a lot. Why do you want to fight about that? I don't want to fight, as you do.
I can't think of anything.
They're dead serious,
young,
though.
we fought a lot. We fought a lot till we were about 12 or 13, and I can remember one fight that became so epic. and we were beginning to bulk up a little bit and get strong, and realized, shit, I think I can really hurt this son of a gun. I think we better
quit fighting. We haven't had a lot of arguments since we were kids, really. And obviously, he's the A twin.
Yes.
And I'm the B.
What do you mean by that?
Generally speaking, he's generally speaking.
We never realized that's common, and in twins it's the norm, but it is with me. He'd always, Mike, would you move aside and shut up so I can talk? Probably when we were young, you despised that about me because he couldn't get a word in edgewise because hi, da da da, and I wasn't trying to be obnoxious. I was just being me. He was the beta, I was the alpha.
I asked him, what do you mean by that?
Yeah.
Because I didn't know what he meant. A, B.
Yeah. Alpha, beta.
And it's a real thing. When you're born, there's an age difference. A couple minutes, a couple seconds. Nonetheless, there's an age difference. So that's a good point, what he was saying. The A twin and the B twin, he did a good job of explaining that. Generally speaking, he's generally speaking. And I think in my experience, you were born first. I was born second. Does that make you the A twin? Like automatically, or can it flip flop as you go throughout your childhood? Is there always one A and one B?
I don't know, but I do think that the twin that is born first, there's something that happens there, where, I'm 8 minutes older. So I am the older twin. You are my younger brother. I don't know about the AB. I think that
I gotta stick up for these Bs out here.
Yeah.
And I don't mean betas. I mean the ones that are born second. Because look at them. Look at Mort. He's by this age, I would imagine you've grown so comfortable with yourself that it doesn't matter. You're blessed to be born a twin.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you're the A or the B. You start to embrace it. It's part of your personality. It really is.
Exactly.
It really is.
Nothing about each other, but people don't remember our names.
You think they don't remember, or they get confused?
No, they don't remember. They don't remember. And they get confused.
There's a list, but I don't think we have time for this broadcast.
Give us one or two each.
She's Bossy, and that's the A twins. I just want y'all to know that y'all need to cut back just a tad on the stress, okay? But you know what? I know it's a bad thing, but I do like the bossiness though. It's like a bad thing and a good thing at the same time. I will go with that.
She says she likes it.
What ticks me off about her is she thinks she's not bossy, but she is in her own right. It's just that we have it at our own time. She leads on a whole different other tune. And the thing about her is like she don't realize sometimes it irritates me because she always make it feel like I'm the bossy one when she have her moments too. So that's the thing. So it kind of sounds like we're going with the same thing. We're bossy.
The one thing I think that's bad about being a twin is before her husband passed, people would see me with my husband and not know that either one of us had a twin, and then they think you're running around with your husband and you're wondering what people think of you because they don't realize there's two of you.
Yeah, that's real.
I never thought about that.
That's real. That's real.
I never thought about that. Oh man.
And you really are totally innocent. But
And
they don't know that.
they think you're being rude when you don't talk to them at the grocery store. When I don't know her friends, I don't know the people she goes to church with, and it's a big problem.
We encounter that a little bit.
Yeah.
It's not, I don't get mad or anything when it happens.
No.
It's just that, somebody you may know better, whether through work or anything, may see me at the grocery store and start waving, and I have no idea who this person is.
Yep. Do you wave back?
When I do see somebody waving and I don't know this person, maybe I'll do a wave and just continue.
I think for me, it's pretty clear after a couple seconds when somebody thinks I'm you.
Yeah.
Even if they're just waving. If they're like acting like they know me and I've never seen this person in my life, all right. I'm Jared for a couple minutes. And actually, it's interesting.
Yeah, but rarely has somebody waved and then come up to me.
Yeah,
and we've had a conversation. That hasn't really happened.
Well, I mean, people mistake us all the time. Like if you're out, that's happened a lot.
Yeah, but also think about it from their perspective. If they really think it's Jordan and it's me, and Jordan's not waving back.
No, but I'm talking about if they do approach you and are like, "Hey, Jordan," or "Hey, Jared."
That's easy.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not Jared. You know.
Yeah.
But have you ever acted like you were for? If it was just a brief encounter, "Hey, Jordan." "Hey,
No,
Jordan."
I can't remember.
When you don't have time to correct them, if they're just walking by, "Hey, Jordan, what's up, man?"
Oh yeah, I mean, hey, you just let it go. Yeah.
You get it, don't you? Or people's waving at you from across the mall, and you just wave back, and you hope that they don't come and talk to you because you don't have a clue who they are.
I love being a twin. I love it. Yeah,
awesome.
I love every bit of it.
Nope.
Or anything in
I
your
don't think
past?
so. Nope. Nope. I really don't think so.
She gets on my nerves. She gets on all the time, but it don't. I don't know. It's kind of like she get on my nerves all the time, but it's like that's my sister. Like it's nothing that I can do really. Like
There's never been a time where you didn't talk for like a month.
no, never. We have never not talked to each other for more than some hours. Yeah.
I'm the oldest. I'm 5 minutes older, and yet she's a little bossier. A little stronger personality. And I find that our personalities kind of ebb and flow. There are times when I can be bossy, but she can be bossy too. It depends on who's turf. If she comes to where I live, then I become the stronger one. If I go to where she lives, I'm in control. Yes. She has the keys.
It can be really tough to wake him up. So normally I'm in charge of that. So and I hate him waking me up.
In charge of that.
That's an easy one for me. We have so much in common and see things eye to eye so often, like 99% of the time or more. So when we don't, I'm so angry at him. Why can't you understand? This is the way it should be or is. And he gets equally frustrated because he feels the exact same way. I don't think we would have that kind of relationship with anyone else where I would expect that they know the way it is. He should know.
I think it's we know each other too well, and so we get under each other's skin. We know how. Yeah, we know how to push each other's buttons. And maybe that's really just like a sibling thing, but I think twins like have that closer connection because you guys are together all the time growing up. You know what annoys the other one. And you know just what to say to really get them angry or anything like that. Like even before we were here, we were fighting in the car over some petty stuff. So I mean, it gets to a level. It's like, well, you know what? You just got to get over it because you're twins.
That's a good point.
Fascinating.
That's a good point right there.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
And every single one of them, again, has very similar mannerisms. That's coming from twins. We can't see it. We can't see our own similarities.
Yep.
All right. So on to the next question. We asked everybody, how do you avoid letting comparisons from others impact your relationship? Let's get into it.
That's rule number one, man. Nobody come between the bond, man. That's written, unwritten. That's just in all should be in all twins rule book right there. No other person outside of the bond can interfere with what we got going on. That's number one.
Definitely.
And as long as you keep that as a sacred rule, you should never have any kind of situations that mess up the bond and the friendship. Man.
Exactly.
So, I don't really let it get between. So what people like today, somebody just mentioned about he's like more slim, skinny, and I'm more a little wilder. So that's one thing people pick up real quick. But that really don't bother me. That kind of grew up on me. And, I never really had a problem with it.
That's interesting.
Like, you notice skinny wise, slim wise, and he look built up with us. I mean, that really didn't ever bother us whatsoever.
They were able to accept it and not let it bother them at a young age.
I'm wondering if that's because they do different things. Like if they were both basketball players or football players, it's a little harder to not be bothered by that.
Yeah.
You know, now if one is, I don't know, skateboarding and one's playing baseball.
Yeah.
I mean, that's easy. We're supposed to have different bodies.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So, but yeah, it was so interesting hearing them say that it doesn't bother them.
Yeah.
Because as we talked about in the last episode, that's something that really has had an impact on us growing up.
Yeah. And it's something where while we're interviewing them, it's like, wow.
Yeah.
You know, when and how can we get to that level of acceptance that they have?
I think we've grown towards a very high level of acceptance.
Yeah.
You know, it's,
Letting me know I need to get in the gym, but I mean.
What I always wondered was when someone met us, what drew that person to her as opposed to me? Like, what is it about her that they were attracted to? And I still don't know that answer.
And that causes some distress in your mind.
A little bit, but it would depend on who the person was. You know? So,
yeah, because my mom dressed us alike. So we were dressed alike for a long time. And so we both struggled to have our own identities. But, you know, everyone thought I was the smartest one.
Is that true?
See, I knew she was going to go there.
I can recall one circumstance where I had some guy give me some trouble in high school. We went to a pretty big high school, and he was giving me some crud. And I said, "Oh, that was my brother. I have a twin brother." He said, "I don't care. You're both jerks." And my thought was, that's what I've always suspected. I'm half a person. So I don't have so much a problem with my brother Mort. But being a twin growing up at times wasn't fun because you were like half a person or maybe 3/4 of a person. That was a drag.
Well, I have had people ask me, well, you'd make twice as many friends. You also make twice as many enemies. Yeah, I've had that too, where people didn't like you automatically because they didn't like your brother.
I came out as gay when I was young, and that was very hard on Mort because people just you to a much greater degree than was true. Back then, I should remind you, it was a felony. It was considered a severe mental illness and all that kind of crap. And I was an absolute pariah. And so he was afraid that people would get me mixed up with him. And Jesus Christ, Mike, you're going around making a real jerk of yourself, telling people that you're some kind of a freak, and they're going to think you're me. So that was pretty hard on
We've had some funny stories too, actually. One time I was in a Sears store with my wife and son. My wife and son split off, and the guy came up, started talking to me. He seemed to know me. I said, "I don't think I know you." And he said, "You don't remember?" I said, "Oh, I think you were mistaking me for my twin brother, Mike." And I started carrying a picture of the two of us around. See, that's Mike and that's me. Oh, and here's my wife and son. Here, you want to?
Yeah, wife, that's your beard.
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, that is. I didn't think we would encounter this type of dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is what we were sort of searching for. You know, this difference between them, and you know how it played out throughout their lives, and this was fascinating.
And somehow they were still able to work through all of that.
Yeah,
I could imagine that. I mean, that's a pretty big difference. Being a twin, you know, whether you're gay, straight, bisexual, that's a pretty big and clear difference to other people. But even between two twins, I would imagine.
Well, obviously, it wasn't clear for these two.
What do you mean?
Some guy came up to the other twin.
No, but he didn't know he had a twin.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just fascinating to me that they seem like they love each other very much, and I would imagine being young and dealing with that. Not that it's something that has to be dealt with, because it's not, but he just said
it was a felony.
It was a felony. It was viewed as a mental illness.
Yeah.
So as a child, both of them as children, I would imagine that would have caused a rift at points, but also an ability to strengthen your bond beyond belief.
Yes.
And it's fascinating that they're here at Twins Days Festival because they're twins.
Yeah. And this here is the definition of accepting difference. Right? We just talked about it. how it's been a struggle for us to accept our differences. This right here is the definition of accepting difference.
Oh yeah.
And supporting one another. You're different. We're twins.
Yeah, this was interesting.
Yeah.
We just play mind games with them.
Okay, what do you mean? What kind of mind?
So they'd be like, somebody would say, well, are you guys twins? We'd be like, no, we just look alike.
We do that sometimes too.
People at work be like, are y'all twins? No, we're just sisters. We're just sisters.
Yeah.
They'd be like, but y'all look just alike. Really? Because we have another one that looks just like us too. They'd be like, are y'all triplets? No.
They have no idea what's going on. They just walk away.
They just be like, okay.
She just had a baby 8 months ago, right?
Okay.
So now it's like, oh wow, like your sister. So and with women can target much harder because especially having kids like, all the time. So they try to do that. They're like, well, your sister works out all the time. Like what? Like don't do that. It's not really good to compare because it does do something. It does. Even though like I could tell her you're good. Like don't worry about it. My struggles. Like I'm not gonna catch up to her. She had her time. She's growing. Let me do it on my own pace. We're two different people. That's like even like her. She went to college first. I went a couple of years later on her own time. Yeah, we do it. Everybody like, why didn't y'all do it together? Because we ain't got to. Because one time one needs to do first, so the other one can see.
That's amazing.
Again, these clear indicators of difference of their individuality, but learning how to accept and how to work together.
Individuality, but completing each other's sentences.
Right. Individuality, but completing each other's sentences.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It was just amazing to be in the presence of twins that could put to words what we've been feeling all these years.
Yes.
It's amazing. And I think it really helped in how we viewed our relationship. We related with a lot of these twins, and to see that we're not crazy, we're not just competing and ruthlessly going through the psychological torment of what it's like to be a twin with all of that, but what it can lead to and what it has led to for us. Yes. Because we've always known the benefits and that unbreakable bond, but yeah, they put it to words perfect.
Yeah.
That's like even like relationship. That's day one. That's day one. I've already gave them orders. Like she comes first. My kids already know that. Nobody comes before my twin sister. Everybody else is secondary. Only person first is God. So in that order, we don't need to discuss it. That's how it's. But also too, it's like you have to say this because if you don't, you like. Then people, that's when people have those conflicts. If you set the bar like right away and tell people like, look, if my sister called me at 2 a.m., no questions asked, I'm jumping to go do it. Don't stop me. Like, because I will lose relationships because of her. Like, and believe me, I've lost friends and relationships because guess what? You're gonna really think she's second. Like and they try to fight with you now. Relationship. I'm married, and my husband already knows. Oh, he knows. He knows.
So you say
that's why I'm divorced.
Sister comes before your kid.
Yeah, always.
How's that work?
Oh, good. We've been doing a great job at it. They already know.
Like, what's an example?
Okay, if you want to come and start something between us, like Aunt Lay did this, or my daughter might call her and be like, oh, my mom, just recently. Don't be biased. I'm like, okay, I'm hearing you. But at the end of the day, I put your mother first. Right. Period.
Hold on. Now that, I had to dig deeper with them and try to ask, what do you mean your sister comes before your child? Because I didn't understand that.
They made it make sense though.
Yeah, but they were talking in the sense of like a fun way. I thought they were talking about, your sister's health and well-being comes over your child. I don't think that will be the case for us.
No. I don't think that is the case with them. I think, they talk like if one of their kids, or do they have both have kids?
If one has kids.
Yeah. If one of their childs calls the other twin, their aunt, and starts complaining about their mom, what she would say is, she's not hearing it.
No.
She's not hearing it at all.
I think what this conversation told me was that, or reaffirmed for me, is that it's the unfortunate reality for our significant others, for our friends, that, you know, you come before them.
Yeah, and it's something that sounds so cliche, like, why?
It sounds terrible.
I wouldn't say it sounds terrible. It sounds cliche. Like, you serious or you joking?
Yeah.
It's not a joke though. It's not. And to hear this confirms that, because it's just the truth.
Yeah.
You know, people, a lot of times, it's hard to understand that. But it's similar to having a family member or a friend that you would do anything in this life for. They come before everything.
Yeah.
No matter what. I mean, that's what it is.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Won't answer, or we'll just ignore it or something.
Yeah. Okay. Same thing?
Yeah.
Don't answer, okay.
Well, we kind of try to avoid it.
Yeah.
And we already know some of the differences, and some I don't like some of my differences. Yeah, I don't either, but it is what it is.
So they, you know, that's what we were talking about again in part one, where, you know, if we notice somebody about to start comparing us or pointing out a difference, we leave.
Shut it down.
You know, we shut it down. We get out of that situation. To hear that lets me know that I'm not crazy.
Right. Right.
I try not to be rude to people about it, because we're twins. Like, it's a fascinating thing to people, but I don't like cliche, like, people call us twins all the time at work. You gotta check people. Like, I would rather you get my name wrong and just keep calling me twin all the time. Like that, like, they just group us together. That's what irritates. Some people say, like, we're not individual people, but I be having to, like, you're the same person. I'm like, we have our differences. We're individual. And it's not like that. We have experienced that too, especially like with the men. Like they don't even care. Who y'all think prettier? Like, who's that's prettier? And I don't like that. Yeah, like, what? We're identical. And not even that. Like, that's not who y'all think is prettier. Who's smarter? And like try to pin us against each other, and that don't work. Or even like we argue all the time. So we argue in public, and then people will try to get us riled up, like, oh, they arguing, and then we flip on that person, like, no, just because we argue, stay out of it. That don't mean nothing to do with you. So.
It didn't bother us. I mean, we thought it was funny. I mean, we still have cousins who say they don't know the difference. And, you know, it's just funny that they don't even try. We just kind of got used to it. It was almost teasingly, now, which one are you? Are you Marlene or Marcia? It just was like a conversation.
Marcia.
Marlene and Marcia appear to have gained a deep level of acceptance across the board.
Yep.
In almost anything. You know, they accept every single difference. They don't get angry at anything at this point. You know, they've lived a life together.
And they're living separate.
Yes.
They're living separate, and they're still making time to come to Twins Days and be around each other and celebrate their bond.
Yeah.
Everything about this festival was beautiful.
I agree.
I think all our life at this point, like, we've kind of just had people always, try to, like, point out differences and stuff. So, like, we're kind of used to it at this point. But, yeah, I mean, if someone, like, tries to rag on one of us, we'll come back. We'll come at you, right?
So we were at the Bertram Hotel, which is where a lot of the twins go. And there was this little kid who walked up to us. He was at a bar mitzvah that a bunch of Jewish people were having over there. And he walks up to us and he goes, "You guys are twins?" And we're like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Y'all look nothing alike at all." And we're like, "Wow, okay." And then he looks at me, he goes, "You have a smaller face, but you have a huge face." And I was like, "Well, I mean, you could have just said a little bit bigger." He goes, "No, you have a huge face." I think it's gotten to the point where, you know, when we were younger, it did kind of affect us a little bit. Because, you know, of course, we're competitive. So whenever somebody was like, oh, you know, they're like the faster twin, or like they're the more outgoing twin, or they're better at this over this. Like, yeah, I mean, he's more athletic when it comes to like flipping. Back when we were young, I used to be better at basketball. Yeah. So it's always something competitive, like we would be compared to, even if it was like height or I mean, we're pretty much the same in terms of like body and whatnot. Yeah. So it's not too much to, call that out. I am a little bit taller than him, and that does get to him a little
No, it's because you mention it when it's not relevant. So
I feel like it's necessary.
Okay. But yeah, so other than that, when it comes to comparisons, we really don't care too much anymore.
Yeah. It's just one of the things you have to learn to accept as a twin. I don't know if this ever happened to you. So I had a friend that talked to me, and he was like, man, I like you better, bro.
I've actually had that happen before where people...
To me?
Yeah.
Where they liked you better?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, well, I didn't know that either.
Yeah, you thought you were special.
Oh, that's a beautiful thing.
That's another no-no, though.
Oh, yeah.
That's an automatic, like, okay, I don't know if I can be friends with you anymore.
Right. But learning how to deal with that.
Yeah. At a young age.
Right.
I like you better. Well, my brother's coming to the birthday party too.
Or when you're put in those situations, it's like, I don't want to hear that. You have to let them know. No.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear that. Like, however you want to say it. But that's a beautiful thing that he was saying about acceptance. That's a theme in this one. How do you not allow people to get in between your relationship by comparing you? You have to accept your differences.
Boom.
You have to accept that you do some things better than me. I'm learning how to accept that. I've come to accept that you do many things better than I do.
And you do many things better than I do.
Right. And in order to thrive, I think, and have a healthy relationship as twins, it comes a point, Jared, where if you don't accept those things, you're only doing yourself a disservice. It's causing actual psychological harm, I think. And I think we've, over the years, come to accept a lot of things. There are some things that just being around each other, we're still living together, it's harder to accept. Like, this is a good example. Why can't I be as disciplined as you? And I know that's not so much a trait. That's something that you have to work at. I think about that. Like, you are very, very disciplined. You use your time wisely. That's something I noticed over the years.
I think the exact opposite, though, is a question that I ask.
What?
Why can't I be as loose as you sometimes? Not necessarily not disciplined.
Yeah.
But as flexible. Why can't I be as flexible as you sometimes?
Flexible meaning like when things come up,
meaning
it doesn't really.
Meaning you're not so disciplined to the point of you can't be flexible at all. Flexibility is a good thing.
Right. Yeah. So today, those are the things that we see differences in. But Jared, I don't think we'd be able to talk if we still had some of the things with us from childhood.
Yeah.
That's some serious stuff that what the one guy said, your twin so well that you know exactly what to say to get underneath his skin. We don't do that anymore. I'm glad we don't. You don't do it how we used to do it.
Yeah.
So, okay. So the very last question that we asked these sets of twins was, what advice do you have for other twins, and what should non-twins keep in mind?
I would say for the outside folks that's not a twin, and you look toward like having twin friends and people like that, the most annoying thing that I would say some outside people don't really pay much attention to is like give each individual their own identity and treat them as if they're one person instead of lumping them together, twin one, twin two, however certain people look at it, because even though we do look alike, we do have our own identities, our own strengths, weaknesses, likes, dislikes, and things like that. We aren't just like one person fused together. We are our own separate entities.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I would say.
Yeah.
whatever. My advice for twins, like what I said about other people, like saying that if y'all too grown to be dressing alike, don't let that stuff bother you. If you're a twin, live y'all life to the fullest, because tomorrow is not promised. Amen. I'll say the same exact thing. I always think positive. Don't ever think negative. Anybody come around you with that negative thought, negative energy, move them away. That's why you have a twin.
That's right. Move them away.
More and foremost is come to a festival. It's fun. Right. It's fun out here.
Treat us as individuals and remember our names.
I like that. I like that.
Especially because our names don't rhyme.
Exactly.
You know, they kind of assume, Karen and Sharon, and it's not.
Love it. Don't lose it. Believe me, we have had twin friends that have lost their significant others. It is not something you want to deal with. So enjoy the friendship, the love while you last. Cherish every moment, because guess what? Like, the blink of an eye, this person that I'm looking at right now can be gone, and that's real talk. And who am I going to talk to, conversate? You know, have those little laughs and giggles about all those memories. But just the moments. Like, y'all be stressing over little stuff. Life is not about stress. It's about living. If you ain't living, why are you? You ain't even exist. Period.
I love them. I love them.
They're just finishing each other. They know what they're gonna say.
Yeah, no, that point goes deep, right? You know, what would life be like if one of us died, or if one of us, left this earth?
Couldn't even fathom what that would be like. It'd be a completely different existence.
Yeah. And we talk about it a lot.
Yeah.
I'll speak for myself. I don't think I could survive.
I feel the exact same way, but, and I tell you this all the time, if that did happen where I were to pass away, the only thing I would want you to do in this life is to keep living and be happy and know that I'm okay. That's what I would want sitting here right now.
Likewise.
But Jared, I do understand, like, I don't know if that's possible. And I'm just speaking real right now. I don't know if that's possible. If you died, that right there is almost like me dying, but still being in a human body.
Yes.
Unexplainable. How do you move past that?
Yeah.
Just like the estrangement piece, I think that part, twins who have to deal with their twin passing away.
Boy, oh boy.
I mean, that's just...
Yeah, those two things, estrangement and a twin having to deal with their twin dying. I want to learn more about that.
And you know what? I think we'll keep making these episodes because there's so much to explore in terms of being twins.
Yeah.
So you can look forward to us discussing more of those issues with twins who've had those experiences in the future.
Yeah,
for sure.
Hey. This is really interesting. And we ran into this at breakfast this morning when we were talking to a couple that they have twin daughters. And we were saying about if one of us had a physical ailment, look out, because the other one is probably going to have the same thing if they're identical. And that has happened to us over the years. If something happens to her, I'm usually right behind, like maybe 6 months behind. But that has happened, and they identified with that, and they said, you are absolutely right.
Just have fun with every bit of minute that you're living, and you don't enjoy being a twin. Enjoy being a twin.
Yeah.
Your twin is always going to be your best friend, no matter what. You have this special bond. You were born together, so always keep that bond. Never lose that. Yeah.
I would just say try to stay close. I would say stay close. Stay as close. And just know that your sister gonna always be there at the end of the day. That's or your brother. Yeah, or your brother. Y'all gonna always have each other back. Yeah, I would just say stay close and be mindful. Like, y'all are individuals too. Like, y'all don't have to let people group y'all together or pin y'all against each other.
I think enjoy it. Enjoy it. I mean, it's a very special relationship, and we appreciate it. And I think the older we get, the more we appreciate each other.
We feel fortunate to have the connection and bond that not a lot of people do. So yeah, you can't really imagine life the other way. So yeah, we're just blessed, I feel.
Talk all the time. as much as you can. I mean, like, even if, you know, you find separate interests and personalities, talk all the time. Like, be upfront and honest with each other like you would family. No, absolutely. You know, whenever, you know, you get upset with each other, you know, don't hold it against each other, because sometimes you guys may be the only, you know, people that you've got. I know for us, you know, we've had family members, extended family that we've tried to catch up with and connect with, and they just really weren't all about it. And so our parents were always like, you know, you've only got each other. And so really, you know, that's kind of been the biggest thing that stuck with us is, you know, you really do only have each other. You know, there's a bond, of course, that, you know, it's inexplainable, but you both feel it. So,
you're like two peas in a pod, right?
That's right. That's right.
That's what they say.
Bam.
Wow.
That last question, you know, what would you recommend for other twins? That was a question for us.
Oh, yeah.
Right. We wanted to know for our own selfish reasons, especially from Marlene and Marcia. You know, they're a bit older, where you want to hear that wisdom.
Yes. Yes.
You know, those decades of being a twin.
Yeah.
And what have you learned? I want to know. You know, and I really do think that going to this festival had an impact on, you know, our relationship afterwards.
I think it did as well. And I think it allowed us to see other twins expressing their love in a way that isn't really allowed too much in society.
Yeah.
Not that it's not allowed. I think that it gets old. It gets cliche. We get your twins, okay, whatever, separate, get apart. I'm not saying everybody feels that way, but being in a place where you are, like you said in the beginning, it is the norm. You are the majority at this festival. That, I think, is one of the most powerful feelings. We've never felt that before.
Yeah.
You've always sort of felt like you are different.
Yeah.
Not different in a bad way. I mean, obviously, as you can see from everybody's responses, being a twin is a beautiful gift.
Yeah.
So it's a good difference. But stepping on the Twins Days festival and meeting all these wonderful twins was just, yeah, I think it just made me more appreciative of what we do have and gave me comfort to see that we aren't crazy. These twins have different personalities. These twins have such a strong bond that is everlasting. And I think it confirmed a lot of things for me, but I also learned a lot.
I echo all of that. And going back to the point I mentioned at the beginning, it was literally a world within a world, right? It's not just like all the festival activities where twins are participating in. Jordan, when we were leaving the festival and we pulled up to the gas station, you see twins pumping gas. You know, you're living in a twin world.
Oh yeah. That
right?
little area for that weekend was.
Yeah, you see twins walking down the street, walking their dogs. I didn't know what to do. It was, you know, because you know that is, it's not normal.
It's
right?
definitely not normal.
We're inviting all these twins to one place for 3 days. You know, and you just felt like, if there was a community filled with twins, would you want to move there together?
That is an interesting question.
That would be, I can't say I'd say no right off the bat.
But why is that? I think it's more of the feeling you got while you were there of being the majority, of feeling this overwhelming sense of acceptance, feeling this overwhelming sense of connectedness to people who you can relate with.
Yeah.
That not many people walking around you can relate with outside of this festival.
Yeah.
Just that instant connection.
But also, and I do want to make a point clear, being a twin is not a stigmatizing identity.
Not at all.
Right?
Not at all.
It's not like, you know, twins are are this marginalized group within society.
Right.
Right. But if you're out in public with your twin, just randomly out in public, attention is drawn to you. And many times it's the opposite. It's like, oh, you get to experience what it feels like to be a little bit famous for a day.
Or to just draw that attention.
Yeah.
Or that double look.
You walk in the mall, right?
Yeah.
You can expect on receiving those double looks throughout your entire 2 hours at the mall.
Now try walking in the mall with the same clothes on.
Exactly.
I'm sure it won't be as comfortable of an experience as you felt when you're at Twins Days,
Exactly.
unless you feel comfortable doing that. But I don't really want to stand out like that at the mall.
And I think that was our hesitation when we went to Twins Day about wearing the same outfit. Because we've been so conditioned to receive those eyes when we're wearing the same outfits. However, we step out of the car at Twins Days, you didn't feel an ounce of that. It was an expectation that you dress the same.
No, but that's a good point. It's not a stigmatizing identity to have, being a twin. And you can't paint all twins' experiences with a broad brush.
Yeah.
You can't just say being a twin is this.
Yeah.
Being a twin is that. Because it's not. At the end of the day, these two who just spoke are brothers, right? They're not just twins, they're brothers.
Yes.
They can relate with other brothers.
Yes.
But a lot of times, it's a step above being a brother. You are twins. You have a deeper level of understanding for one another.
Yeah.
So that was the most beautiful thing. Just seeing that, it was an atmosphere full of love. And
Yeah.
I definitely will be going back.
I cannot wait.
We will
go
be
back.
going back because I can't go alone.
Exactly. And hell, we may bring our family.
Yeah.
Right? That would be interesting. To make them feel different for a day. Damn it. Anyways, again, we want to really thank all of the people who we interviewed. We will hopefully have a chance to speak with some of them again at the next festival date.
Yeah.
And we look forward to returning to Twins Days.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a comment. Let us know what you think, and we will talk to you soon.